guys, it's DC and welcome to the Soap Sanctuary where all soap lovers are welcome. This is my character analysis video on Eric Forrester. We have actually seen some really great scenes with Eric in these past few weeks. And here's the thing, when a character on a soap is facing their mortality, they're usually reflecting on the contributions and the legacy and the impact they've left behind. And then in turn, what that does for us as viewers, we're also reflecting on what that character has left behind. Now, this is where my struggle came into play with Eric Forrester. In the past 20 years of me watching B&B, I struggled to be able to recollect what kind of actual contributions Eric left behind. Obviously, we have Forrester Creations, and I'm not speaking pre-2006, I'm speaking 2006 and onwards. I have struggled to see that with Eric. A lot of the characters on B&B they had a lot of different conversations, such as me and Granddad, we shared a great time together, he was always here for me, we've done this and we've done that, and I understand that, totally understand that. Because sometimes, especially when a character has died in a soap or getting ready to die, soap characters will say things like, oh, I remember when me and so-and-so would go sledding in the snow or something like that. Like off-canvas stuff. And at times we're willing to suspend disbelief, right? We're willing to it sometimes. But I didn't find it believable when I heard half these characters say these things, because I feel like for most of them, I've barely seen Eric have a scene with them that went beyond good work or good to see you. Just being honest, I haven't really seen beyond that, honestly, with Eric. So they gave him this newfound connection with RJ recently. Because, Eric was all, I can't draw, and then they gave this connection with RJ. And I feel like the reason why, because Eric really hasn't had a connection with anybody on canvas. It gave RJ something to do and something new, but I also feel like Eric doesn't have that with anybody on canvas. Not even his own kids. If you want me to be real, I feel like Ridge is actually the true Forrester patriarch more so than Eric is. And don't get me wrong, it's not because Eric is older, because there's other soap characters that are older, but you feel the impact, you feel the presence when they come onto the scene. And maybe it's just how they write for John McCook. That could be it too. But with Eric, I never felt that. There are times I'd watch B&B, I would see Eric and I'd be like, oh, like, you're still on the show? Okay, that's what's up. I see you, King. I salute you. There's other times like, oh, you're still on the show? Like, okay, like, are you going to do something this time around? Is something going to happen? And the thing about it is, like, I haven't really seen any of that, at least in my opinion. You guys can tell me if you disagree or not. Maybe do you think Eric has provided depth? Maybe there might have been some things I haven't seen. But in the past 20 years, I haven't seen that with Eric. Like I said, I feel like Ridge is more of a Forrester patriarch than Eric is. Which, quick thing for aside for a moment, Ridge wanting to pull the plug on Eric. This is Ridge's second time where Eric was in the hospital, because I think years ago he was, and Ridge actually pulled the plug on him. And Donna was over here crying in the corner, and she had no rights. I don't know if Donna and Eric are legally married. If they aren't, maybe should get married after this. And if you are married, maybe have things in place. Even for me, I have a last will and everything written up. I feel like that's just a responsible thing to do. Very irresponsible of Eric on my part. A little irresponsible. You have Carter, the family lawyer, like, what's going on here? That Donna had no rights. That's a very tricky place to put yourself in. That's a very tricky place to put yourself in. But back to Ridge being more of a better patriarch. I feel like Ridge could. And same with Brooke. I could see Brooke being the matriarch of the Forresters. I feel like when Stephanie died and she had that scene with Brooke, that was her way of like passing the baton to Brooke. And yes, Brooke is known for being sexy and sultry and all these things. Kind of like a LA version of Erica Kane. But I feel like Brooke has that in her. It's kind of like Kim Hughes on As the World Turns. It's like, yeah, she had her moments before, sleeping with her sister's husband and all this other stuff, but she became that matriarch we knew she was meant to be. And she kind of like took over that role from Nancy. We knew that Kim always had that in her. We knew she always had that in her. And I feel like Brooke has that in her too. I know people can disagree with me, but I feel like Brooke actually has a makings for a matriarch. When I see Catherine Kelly Lang on our screens, I'm like, she's got it. And can I just start writing for her at this point? Because when you get to a certain age, certain things just don't make sense anymore for you to keep doing. Like, at some point, you got to grow up, which is one of my biggest issues with Erica Kane. They never grew her up. You know what I'm saying? But I thought they could do that with Brooke. Because like I said, with Eric, like, I know that his death would drive story if he were to die. Although it doesn't look like they're going to kill him off. But his death would drive story if they do things right. But Eric as a character, it's sad when a soap character dies, but I don't know what depth he really brought to the show in the past 20 years or so. And that's not on John McCook. I just think it's the writing they've given Eric. Because I look at Stephanie, they gave her the child abuse storyline. Brooke had the whole thing where she was navigating with her dad leaving her. The essay storyline she had a while back. My God, like, who else I'm trying to think? There's so many of them. I mean, they've given Brooke depth. Katie with her heart transplant storyline, with what she was getting from Storm. Donna with having a child young and giving up for adoption. Their child come back into her life. So they've given that depth with Brooke, Katie, Donna. I've seen it with Steffi. I've seen it with Hope. I've seen it with Ridge. Even with Sheila. But I don't know that I've seen it with Eric. I've seen Eric as pretty much a womanizer. I haven't seen anything more in depth at that point with Eric. And I don't recall him being this close to any of these characters. I don't see it. Like, for example, and I don't know if the actor is still alive, so I'm going to be respectful when I say this. Sean Douglas on Days. You guys know who Sean Douglas is? I'm not talking about Sean and Belle. I'm talking about his grandfather, Sean Douglas. Do you know what that is? Because the thing about it is that, like, it's the way the character is written. They did not write Eric with a lot of depth. Maybe John McCook had more depth when he was Lance on Young and the Restless. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't see that with Eric. I don't see that depth that I want to see. It's sad if he were to die because it's a force of patriarch. But I don't know that I'll miss Eric per se. I've seen Pam even have more depth. The way they wrote for her. But I haven't seen that with Eric, honestly. And I know you guys might disagree with me. Tell me if there have been moments this year. Because I might have missed it. I'm not perfect. I might have. But I don't know how I see that with Eric. I don't know how I see that or feel that depth with him in the storyline. And Ridge was so quick to pull the plug. Ridge was all like, I don't want to see my dad suffering. He's suffering. And I'm like, is this about Eric or is this about you? Who is this really about? And of course, they had Eric giving the voiceover, my son, do the right thing, and both of them. He didn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing. But like, I'm like, Ridge, is this really about Eric suffering or your suffering you're wanting to add? You know? Well, Loki kind of selfish. Loki a little bit selfish. That's how I do. This is the second time Ridge has done this. Loki selfish. Dad had a conversation with me. Now, if I was Eric, this is the second time now you've woken up that Ridge want to pull a plug on you. Please put something in that will medical power of attorney to give to somebody else because Ridge is clearly not looking out for your best interest. I don't know. I didn't feel it in that moment. I didn't feel it with Ridge in that moment. I gotta be honest. I didn't feel in that moment. But Donna needs to get herself some rights too. You can't be with someone like that and then you just crying on the wayside. But Donna will continue to cry because they've given Donna some depth, but they've dwindled it down through the years, unfortunately. Anyways, guys, this is like my quick character analysis review on Eric Forrester. Let me know your guys' thoughts, because I just haven't seen that with Eric, honestly. I remember when they had Stephanie on the show, and she brought it. I mean, seeing Bridget this past week, Bridget and Stephanie have those voices which give you classic B&B when you hear those stereo waves. And same with Bill. Bill put the bold back in the bold and the beautiful when he came back. You know, when he came onto the show, and when Stephanie was pretty much on her way out, Bill does that for me. But nobody will ever do it like the way Stephanie does. The way she commands a scene on that show. Because I haven't felt the boldness part in the bold and the beautiful in a while. It's been a minute. But anyways, guys, that's my quick character analysis review on Eric Forrester. Feels good to be back posting some video, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.